Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance, and this resistance video is sponsored by contribution from Mary, and here's her story. Hello, Ollie. I sent a donation via PayPal. In my last video, The Narcissist Denies Your Depression to Keep You Depressed, I shared that my mom coerced me to denying my depression when we went with my third grade teacher, when we met with my third grade teacher. After your grade assessment, Ollie, you said that there were more issues to look at, and that was correct. So here is some follow up. I decided to lay out some of the various memories of my childhood with Dear Mom, and you can give feedback. In the previous video, I shared that my parents became pregnant with me prior to their marriage and being finished with college work, so it was a big disgrace to their Catholic families. Also, over the last few months and seeing other vids you've read, I suddenly realized that my dad might have been more of a covert narc than I thought. In the best order I can remember, here is a list of things that went on in childhood and were hurtful to me. Age 2, had to be taken to the ER after drinking bleach. Seems like a typical household accident. This was about 1963, so there were no child-proof caps. But later I asked her about why I would have drunk bleach. She said, well, maybe because it was in the pitcher like I used for making Kool-Aid. What the hell? Why would anyone put bleach in a pitcher for drinks or anything besides the original container? That's worse than putting wine in water bottles and putting them in the refrigerator and then laughing when you drink. Bleach. Age 4, began kindergarten and was happy to be off to school. Later in the year, when I told her I had learned to read, she said I was wrong. Not until she came to a program where each of us read from a book did she admit that I had indeed learned to read. She was never encouraging. As the family grew, I was the oldest of eventually 6 kids. She loved to call us dumb little kids or threaten to run away from home. We were a huge inconvenience to her. I know if I ever challenged her on this, she would say she was joking, of course. I don't think that is the way little kids take it, though. Sometime in grade school, she apparently thought I needed to be knocked down a bit, so she told me I had mousy brown hair. Hers was brown, mine blonde. And that my eyes were dirty dishwater blue. I actually had hazel and gold eyes like yours, Ollie, but I'm sure she was jealous of me. Yeah, clearly. I guess I was around 6 or 7, but I had to use the neighbor's bike as I didn't have one yet. I borrowed it and was riding down our long block, weaving back and forth. Well, I ended up flying over the handlebars and landing on my forehead. I jumped up screaming and ran home. She came out of the house. I heard, "Why are you screaming?" before she saw my blood-stained face. I ended up with a huge goose egg that was hideous, but later she asked if I wanted to go to school the next day. Even though I didn't want to, I knew she wanted me gone as usual. Despite her being an RN and knowing about concussion risk, she sent me off to school the next day. Hours later, the nurse called home and asked her to come get me as my appearance was frightening to some of the other students. I was mortified. Wow, she just sends you in there bloodied up, huh? Sometime in early grade school, I found a nice steely steel marble for the younger listeners. It was another student's pencil tray, and I took it. Not long after I got home, I lied about where I got it and was in big trouble. My dad decided to punish me by taking away my bike. The worst part was he hung it in the rafters of our garage. Then I saw him bragging to one of his neighbor buddies about it. So the humiliation treat was real So the humiliation was a real treat for him. At some point, my dad's work took him out of town frequently, so my mom would let me stay up late and keep her company. I was helping making lunches for school the next day, and we would watch several shows, ending with The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. I'm sure it was on until 10 p.m. at least, and still being in the third or fourth grade, I was certainly too young to be staying up that late. I think it was on until midnight. The Tonight Show? I mean, The Tonight Show, I think, comes on at 11. I think it's always come on at 11. Or maybe it came on in 10. Wasn't on until 10. I think it came on at 10. Maybe at the earliest. I was certainly too young to be staying up that late. Of course, she got her supply of having someone to keep her company and give a hand making lunches or folding laundry. Also, I think this ritual was part of placating me. She wanted me to appear happier at school so no one would accuse me of still being depressed. Jumping to adulthood, it took me many years trying to figure out what my late husband was. Probably a full-blown sociopath or borderline, that I realized I had been trained well by my parents for abuse. Now I am really struggling with how to deal with this. I get along with my siblings pretty well, and also my parents, but when I started realizing their behavior as parents was terrible, it's been causing me lots of stress, as I'm not sure how to handle the situation. It's one thing to fake it over a holiday meal, but now they are in their late 70s and dad has health issues. I'm not sure what to do next. I feel quite sure sister number 2 is the golden child, and the rest are a mixed bag of how they were treated and relate to the folks. Sister 3 is pretty angry with mom, whereas younger sibling seems pretty okay. It's usually the way it kind of goes. The youngest one gets the least of it. Since number 2 sister and I have been pretty close over the years, these revelations have been hard for me to process. I've tried to keep quiet about these things with her, golden child, because I feel pretty sure she would tell the parents. I guess I'll leave it at that and wait for your assessment. Thanks for all you do for me and folks in similar situations. Well, here's what I'm going to tell you, Mary. Trying to get the golden child to understand any of this is just, it's not going anywhere. You're not going to convince the golden child of anything because they don't want to know. They like the position. They like what they're in. It seems to me your mother, again, still, you had a lot of issues growing up. Your mother used you more as a friend. Like to replace your dad when he was away, keep you up at night. But again, this entire time as a child, you're depressed. And everything about it, and everything your mother was doing, was still trying to keep you depressed so she can keep you under control. So she can keep the status quo. But I'm going to tell you this. I mean, if your younger sister was treated okay and she has no anger issues, the middle one's the golden child, but you're close. I'm telling you, the golden child doesn't want to hear about the narcissist. They never do. They never do. Because then it's going to open up the issues for them, and they don't want it. Ever. It's funny, the thing about taking your bike away, putting it up in the rafters. I had a friend's dad who did that to him once when they got into a fight. And then he hung the bike in the rafters and they made everybody come over and laugh at him that his bike was way up where he couldn't get it. It's just something baby boomers love to do. Baby boomers love to torture their children. They love it. They love it. They love humiliate. They love the public humiliation. They love being able to grandstand in front of their friends and then their friends join in. That's why I'm telling you, the whole generation, it's a generation of assholes. It's a generation of complete fucking assholes. Oh. It was one of the things that my parents did. They loved, like, my whole goal growing up was just to avoid them, to stop them from humiliating me, to make me a public spectacle, and that's what they do. You know, that's what they always do. The baby boomer loves to humiliate you, and it's what they get off on, whether it's personally, politically, they love it. They love it. And let me tell you something. And you're not going to get the golden child. You're not going to get the golden child to listen to the baby boomer. Listen about the baby boomer's abuse. You're not. You're not. Especially a golden child of a baby boomer. Mm-mm. Never. Never. Because the baby boomer has so much entitlement, their golden childs are just, forget it. It's a lost cause. So I hope that helps, Mary. Thank you so much for your contribution and story. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, or a Facebook live chat, or you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. Without you guys, all of this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been the Narcissistic Resistance.